everybody. I'm your host with the most, Norman, here on the Transportation Hub YouTube channel, and welcome to a very special podcast. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I will be talking to you guys about the service changes effect coming to the B Division subway line effective April 2020. Okay, now this is from Judith McLean, Chief of Operations Planning, and this involves the M subway line. The service issue. New York City Transit is proposing to adjust the M train service to accommodate long-term construction and maintenance work in Queens. Okay? The following schedule changes will be implemented on this line. So this has everything to do with the Queens Boulevard line and the ongoing work to implement communications-based train control along the entire end of the Queens Boulevard line. Once again, from Parsons Archer all the way to 50th Street, 8th Avenue on the E line, and from 179th and Hillside all the way to 21st Street, Queensbridge on the F line. And the M and R trains are also affected by this too, because they're also the Queens Boulevard local line route. And the G may make a comeback to the Queens Boulevard line one day. Who knows? Okay, on with this podcast now. Weekdays, M service will be routed to Exit Street instead of Forest Hills 71st Avenue to accommodate long-term construction and maintenance work along the Queens Boulevard line. Yeah, instead of having the M train service terminate at Exit Street, right? Right? Why don't you send the M train right back down to its own stopping grounds at Chambers Street during middays or weekends, whatever you want to do it, and have the M train go all the way back down to Bay Parkway during weekdays? If I was part of the operations planning committee, that's what I would have recommended. Send the M train down its old stomping grounds, all the way back down to Bay Parkway via Nassau Street, via the 4th Avenue line, and via the BMT West End line. Okay? The evening schedule change reflects a commonly implemented reroute to accommodate critical work. During the L train tunnel project, as well as prior to the start of the L train project, the M train has not routinely, vast majority, more than 80% of weekdays, operated along the Queens Boulevard line weekday evenings because of CBTC and other construction and maintenance work. Customers traveling along the Myrtle Avenue M line and the 6th Avenue line can transfer between the M and F trains at the Lancey Street exit streets. Some customers may prefer other travel options, such as the L, transfer to and from the M train at the Myrtle Avenue Wyckoff Avenue station stops. Customers on the Queens Boulevard line can take the E, F, or R trains as alternatives to the M train, and customers on 6th Avenue can take the F train. Okay, so here's the thing that I see what needs to be done. This could be a perfect opportunity to send the G train back to Queens Boulevard. Send that M train back down to Bay Parkway via Nassau Street, 4th Avenue in Brooklyn, as well as the BMT West End line in Brooklyn. Okay? And I wonder how this will impact the J and Z lines. Would the MTA make the J and Z trains run local in both directions during rush hour between Myrtle Avenue, Broadway, and Marcy Avenue? Geez, I hope not. I hope not. The recommendations. Implement schedule adjustments for the M train route on weekdays to accommodate long-term construction and maintenance work in Queens. Implementation of the proposed M train schedule change will save approximately $0.2 million annually in operating budget and avoid capital supplemental service costs of approximately $0.7 million annually. Proposed implementation date. The M train line schedule change will be implemented in April 2020. It would come through the end of the communications-based train control projects along the Queens Boulevard line, along Queens Boulevard in Queens, and as well as the I&D 8th Avenue and I&D 6th Avenue lines in Manhattan. And on an additional note, simultaneous work with the service change, the completion of the phase of the L train tunnel project requiring overnight and weekend single track operations will permit full restoration of the L train service overnights and on weekends, and return to prior levels of overnight and weekend services on the G and M train line routes. Okay, and the overall staff summary right here is the New York City Transit Committee staff and summary. Subway schedule changes going effective April 2020. The Operations Plan Department head named Judith McCain, and the project manager named Glenn Luden. This was implemented back on October 30th, 2019, when the Houston Astros got beat up by the Washington Nationals in their home field of Minute Park during Game 6 of the 2019 World Series. Okay, so it has been approved by the New York City Transit President, the Community Board, the Chief Operation Officer, and head offices in charge. You already know how it is already. To obtain presidential approval and to inform New York City Transit and MTA Bus Committee of long-term adjustments of the M train routes. Adjustments are warranted on the M train line to accommodate long-term construction and maintenance work in Queens. M train service in the evenings will be adjusted to accommodate long-term communications-based train control (CBTC) and other construction and maintenance along the Queens Boulevard line. The service plan. New York City Transit routinely evaluates ridership and changes service levels when feasible. NYCT also routinely evaluates the impact of capital construction and ongoing maintenance work on train operations and adjusts schedules to accommodate this necessary work. The proposed changes in schedule based on these evaluations. Basic information about these schedule changes is adjusted below. Weekdays. 15 evening round trips after 8:30 p.m. southbound and 10 p.m. northbound will be rerouted to Exit Street instead of Forest Hills 71st Avenue to accommodate CBTC and other long-term construction and maintenance work along the Queens Boulevard line. The even schedule changes reflect commonly implemented reroute to accommodate critical work during the L train tunnel project as well as start of the L train project. The M train has not routinely, vast majority more than 80% of weekdays operated along the Queens Boulevard line during weekday evenings because of CBTC and other construction and maintenance work. Customers travel along the Myrtle Avenue line and the 6th Avenue line can transfer between the M and F trains at the 9th Street Exit Street. Some customers may prefer other travel options. Such as the L train transferred to and from the Myrtle Wyckoff Avenue stations. Customers on Queens Boulevard line can also take the EFR trains as alternates to the M train line. And customers on 6th Avenue can take the F train. Implement schedule adjustments on the M train line route to accommodate CBTC and other long-term construction. Okay, this service change is required to allow capital work to continue. Implementing the service via supplemental schedules based on our schedule will increase operating costs and require additional capital costs to support capital work along the Queens Boulevard line. Implementation of the proposed schedule change will save approximately $0.2 million annually in operating budget to avoid capital supplemental areas costs of approximately $0.07 million annually. The M schedule change will be implemented in April 2020 and will continue to the end of CBTC project along the Queens Boulevard, 8th Avenue, and 6th Avenue lines. Note: simultaneous with this service change, the completion of the phase of the L train tunnel project requiring overnight and weekend single track operation will permit full restoration of L train service overnights and on weekends, and the return of prior levels of overnight and weekend service on the G and M train routes. Okay, guys, so that's pretty much it on the implementation for the M train service coming in April of 2020. I would just like to get your guys' thoughts on the story, on what I just read to you guys just now on this podcast. So, guys, what do you think about the upcoming M train service changes? What do you guys think about the upcoming service changes for the M line in starting in April of 2020? Do you think that the G train should get involved on Queens Boulevard once again? Do you think that the use of the M train should not be limited to not only between Metropolitan Avenue in Queens and Exeter Street in Manhattan, but also send that M train right back down to Bay Parkway via the Montague Tunnel, and via 4th Avenue and West End lines? I want you guys to say what you guys think about this. Drop down your thoughts in the comment section below. And also, I just want to let you guys know about the situation going on with the Houston Astros. I rarely talk about sports, but over the past couple of weeks, you already see me on Instagram. For those of y'all that really follow me on Instagram, y'all already know I dragged the daylights out of the Houston Astros for their blatant cheating, their cockiness, and their we're better than everyone else attitude. Okay? I know what some fans did at Yankee Stadium was wrong. I felt down here that they went a little bit too far. But looking back at them and seeing this story transpired starting back on November 12th, 2019, which was last week Tuesday or so, which was over a week ago from this past Tuesday. What we knew back then, if we know now what we know back then, we would have ran the Houston Astros out of our city, because that is something that should not be tolerated in the sports professional. And I really hope and pray that Major League Baseball drops the hammer on the Houston Astros. Every single awards, all the individual awards, all of the 3 AL West titles that they so-called earned, the 2 American League pennants, as well as that 2017 World Series titles, and the rings that all the Astros players and the whole organization got, they need to be stripped of it. Okay? Because not only that they did the Yankees, not only that they did our New York Yankees and as well as the LA Dodgers dirty, but they also did all of baseball dirty. And that's all I gotta say about this. And anyways, guys, I know I've said, guys, that I was gonna start a gaming channel I know I said I was gonna start a gaming channel in 2020, but it's gonna take a little while because I need to get all my equipment together. The current laptop I'm using to do this podcast right now, it can't handle any gaming, so right now I'm gonna get a second laptop to do all the gaming in, and I haven't done, and I realized that this past year, now that we're approaching the end of this year here, I haven't done much videos in 2019, so that's fixing to change that too, because next month I'm only planning to do 2 videos, and the last 2 videos will be based on New York City Transit videos. One New York City Transit video and a possible Long Island Railroad commuter railroad video. Okay, that's 2. And 3, we also be working on getting a new camera too, because in 2020 I'm gonna go all out and I'm gonna start doing more station tours more often. So stay tuned for that one, because I haven't done one in 2019 because I know that 2 stations along the BMT Astoria line opened. Construction work at the Astoria Ditmars Boulevard station was still going on, so I'm gonna get that too as well. Astoria Boulevard, I'm definitely gonna get that station. I believe there was 2 stations out in the Bronx that reopened for construction work that reopened along the B&D line, so I'm gonna get that station too. That reopened earlier this year, and as well as the 111th Street station stop in Richmond Hill on the J and Z line. I'm gonna get that station stop too as well. Okay, so that's all I gotta say on this story, on this podcast. So if you like what you see, give it a thumbs, subscribe to the channel, rate, comment, and give this podcast a thumbs up. Love all of you guys, and I'll see you all at the next stop.